Hi, my name is Kim George, and today I'll be talking about Abercrombie Fitch and their controversial advertising. Abercrombie Fitch is known for their sexually charged ads and some of their very racy advertising campaigns. As you can see in this print ad itself, this might have been put on a bag or anything of the like. It's a male and a female both wearing Abercrombie jeans, which is not necessarily known unless you can see just the label or you recognize the stitching on the pocket. Topless, embracing each other, things like that. This is very common for Abercrombie Fitch advertising. Sex is a very fundamental need and fundamental thought for all people and all animals. So much so that it can influence our buying factor, like our buying behavior and general life goals. Abercrombie Fitch doesn't necessarily just limit this sexual and racy ads to print ads or to web-based ads. It is a unifying factor throughout all of their advertising campaign. This isn't limited, like I said, to just print ads or web-based advertising. They publish their little things like sneak peeks for upcoming styles called short films. And this is a short film from 2007. As you can hear, if you can hear, it's very seductive music. They're embracing each other, rolling around. Like the girl doesn't have any clothes on. Like there's no mention until the end of Abercrombie Fitch. You can read his tag, that's great, but you know, he's nude, making out a rock. Like they're not using anything. It's sexual advertising, just pure sexual advertising. It's nothing that would infer the clothing. They're not modeling clothing. They're not just walking around. It's just sexual advertising. They're basically hooking up wearing Abercrombie and Fitch clothes. The big controversy about these advertising comes when you start to question who is viewing these. Increasingly their demographic is teens and younger teens and preteens. They compete against Abercrombie and Fitch, American Eagle, who is also that same demographic. Their famous quarterly is also often quoted as having, quotes such as group sex or, like things like that on the cover that, don't necessarily promote conscious sexual activities and sexual behaviors. And like I said, the question comes into who's viewing this. Are we allowing our teenagers to be subjected to this? Is this perhaps one of the reasons behind increased sexual STD rates, increased teenage pregnancy rates, because now are they feeling that this sexual carelessness is okay? Is it acceptable? Is it okay, is it acceptable to exploit yourself sexually just to be a part of a group? In some of their short films, they ask their models to take their clothes off, and they're perfectly acceptable, perfectly okay with that. They have no reservations. Are we saying to our teenagers, this is okay? It's okay for you to just take your clothes off because you're asked, to have no self-worth, have no nothing, that's okay. When those are questions we need to ask when we start to be consumers and when we're considering a brand. I do firmly believe that Abercrombie and Fitch could market themselves without such sexually charged advertising. They do so much in other areas that they have already created this image of prestige and luxury amongst the teenage world that they don't necessarily need these racy ads. They kind of just, I feel like, do more harm than good, and it's often hard for a company to shape this image, especially in parents' eyes, a lot of times that are holding the purse strings. They say, no, you're not going to have that because they have naked people on their bags. You're not going to get that. So it can be hard for the company to shape this image. They do so much, like I said, in other areas. Their stores, they have an atmosphere. They have a smell. They have a music system. Like they have a whole playlist that they market. They have iPhone apps and sneak peeks and all these things that they do, that without the sexual, undertone that they don't necessarily need it. They're selling an aspiration or an idea, not necessarily a product. And I feel that they can continue to do that without the sexuality underneath of it. So I'd like to thank you for watching my presentation.